Most people believe that the difference between the wealthy and the working class is simply a matter of luck, inheritance, or a high-paying job. But if you look beneath the surface of the global elite, you will find something far more profound than a bank balance. You will find a psychological architecture, a business blueprint of the mind. The 1% do not just play the game of money differently, they are playing an entirely different game altogether. While the majority of the world is trained to seek security, the elite are trained to seek leverage. While most are paralyzed by the fear of loss, the 1% are driven by the cost of missed opportunity. This is the invisible barrier that separates the masses from the masters of capital. It begins with how they perceive time. To the average person, time is something to be traded for a paycheck, a linear transaction. But to the ultra-wealthy, time is the ultimate asset to be multiplied through systems, people, and investments. They understand that you cannot become truly wealthy by renting out your time. You must own equity. You must own a piece of the machine. In this video, we are deconstructing the mental frameworks that allow the world's most successful individuals to navigate risk, build empires, and maintain a level of focus that seems almost superhuman. This isn't about tips on saving money. This is about a total psychological rewiring. We are going inside the mind of the 1% to understand the core principles of the wealth mindset. To the average person, risk is a four-letter word associated with danger and the possibility of ruin. But in the business blueprint of the elite, risk is a calculated variable that is decoupled from emotion. One of the most significant psychological differences in the 1% is their mastery of asymmetric risk. This is the ability to identify situations where the potential downside is limited and known, but the potential upside is infinite. While the masses stay paralyzed, protecting what they have, the elite are busy looking for bets where they can be wrong 9 times, but the 10th time they are right, it changes their life forever. But how do they maintain the stomach for this? It comes down to emotional decoupling. Most people tie their self-worth to their financial wins and losses. When they lose money, they feel like they have lost a part of their identity. The 1% view capital as a tool as soldiers in a war. If some soldiers are lost in a battle, it is a calculated cost of the campaign, not a personal tragedy. They have trained their nervous systems to remain calm in the face of volatility. Where others see a market crash and feel panic, the elite see a world on sale. They understand that wealth is often transferred during times of chaos, and only those who have mastered their internal state can capture it. This is not about being reckless. It is about being strategically fearless. It is the realization that the greatest risk of all is playing it so safe that you never actually enter the game. In the world of the average, networking is often seen as a transactional exchange, a way to get a job or a favor. But in the business blueprint of the 1%, relationships are viewed through the lens of social leverage. The elite understand a fundamental truth. Wealth is not just what you have in your bank account. It is the quality and depth of your network. They don't just compound their money, they compound their influence. They understand that one high-level connection can provide more leverage than a decade of hard labor. But there is a specific psychology to how they build these networks. It is the principle of value-first engineering. While most people enter a room asking, "What can I get?" the elite enter a room asking, "Who can I help?" By becoming a node of immense value, they create a web of reciprocal obligation. This isn't about being nice, it is about being strategic. They cultivate high-trust environments where information flows faster and deals are closed on a handshake. Furthermore, the 1% utilize the force multiplier of influence. They don't just speak, they communicate through systems that scale their message. They understand that in the modern era, attention is a currency that can be converted into any other asset. By mastering the psychology of influence, they ensure that they are never working alone. They are always supported by an invisible army of advocates, partners, and mentors. This is the ultimate compounding interest where every person you meet becomes a potential bridge to a world you couldn't reach on your own. In the game of wealth, your net worth is often a lagging indicator of your network's strength. In the world of the 1%, there is one asset that is guarded more fiercely than gold, and that is mental bandwidth. The elite operate on a psychological principle that most people overlook: the speed of execution. While the majority of the world spends weeks, months, or even years oscillating in a state of indecision, the ultra-wealthy understand that a fast no is infinitely better than a slow maybe. They recognize that perfectionism is often just a sophisticated form of procrastination. In the business blueprint of success, speed is a competitive advantage. The faster you decide, the faster you fail, and the faster you fail, the faster you learn. But how do they make high-stakes decisions without burning out? They do it by reducing their decision fatigue. You will notice that many of the world's most successful individuals simplify their lives to an extreme degree. They wear the same clothes, eat the same meals, and follow rigid routines. This isn't out of a lack of creativity. it is a strategic conservation of energy. They save their cognitive power for the decisions that actually move the needle, the billion-dollar bets. Furthermore, they have mastered the art of ruthless prioritization. They understand the Pareto principle to its core that 20% of their actions will drive 80% of their results. They don't try to do everything, they try to do the right thing, and they do it with absolute intensity. This psychological clarity allows them to stay calm while others are drowning in a sea of trivial tasks. They aren't busier than you, they are just more decisive. They protect their focus like a sanctuary, knowing that a distracted mind is a poor mind. One of the most profound shifts in the business blueprint of the elite is their relationship with the concept of value. Most of the world operates from a place of scarcity, a belief that there is a limited amount of wealth and that one person's gain must be another's loss. This mindset creates a psychological ceiling that is almost impossible to break. The 1%, however, operate from a position of abundance architecture. They understand that wealth is not a finite pie to be divided, but a value that is constantly being created out of thin air through innovation, problem-solving, and efficiency. But there is a deeper layer to this: emotional neutrality toward money. To the average person, money is a source of intense emotion. It brings joy, anxiety, or status. To the elite, money is simply a metric of value. It is the scoreboard of the game, not the player. They have trained themselves to view large sums of capital with the same clinical detachment and engineer views a blueprint. This neutrality is their greatest weapon. It allows them to make objective decisions when others are blinded by greed or paralyzed by fear. They also understand the value-price gap. While the masses focus on the price of an asset, the 1% focus on its value. They are willing to pay a premium for something that offers a tenfold return in the future, while others lose sleep over a minor expense in the present. By detaching their ego from the dollar sign, they gain the ability to move capital with surgical precision. They don't spend money, they allocate it. This shift from consumer to allocator is the final psychological threshold. Once you stop seeing money as a way to buy things and start seeing it as a way to buy time, freedom, and impact, you have officially entered the mindset of the elite. The final and perhaps most defining pillar of the 1% business blueprint is the horizon of their vision. While the majority of the world is trapped in the weekly cycle, living for the next paycheck, the next weekend, or the next month, the elite operate on a century cycle. They don't just build businesses, they build legacies designed to outlive them. This psychological shift from now to forever changes every decision they make. They are willing to endure short-term pain, social ridicule, and years of obscurity if it means securing a dominant position for the next 100 years. This is the legacy mindset. It is the understanding that true power is not about what you can consume today, but what you can control tomorrow. They view themselves not as owners, but as stewards of capital. Their goal is to create a self-sustaining ecosystem of wealth that compounds long after they are gone. But the most important takeaway for you is this: this mindset is not a birthright, it is a choice. The invisible barrier between you and the elite is not made of gold or silver. It is made of the stories you tell yourself and the frameworks through which you view the world. Wealth begins the moment you decide to stop being a consumer of life and start being its architect. It begins when you stop trading your time for survival and start investing your energy into leverage. You now have the blueprint. You have seen the internal mechanics of the world's most successful minds. The gate is open, and the only question that remains is, are you ready to stop playing the game of others and start building your own empire? The 1% are not superhuman. They just have a different map. And today, you just received yours.